once again, thank you for joining us today on the next Practice Partner Lunch and Learn session, where today we're bringing you a What's New in Practice Partners session with the team at Updox, who are here to show us some of the new tools that they have available for you that you can take advantage of in your Practice Partner application. So some exciting content for you today. Katie is here from the Updox team and will be presenting today's content. Without further ado, I am going to throw it over to Katie. Katie, when you're ready, take it away.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'll go ahead and make me presenter. I'm sorry, I think that's the one.
You should be presenter now.
Oh, able to see my screen already?
No. Let me see what we can do over here.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. How about now?
Right.
Good to go. There we go. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Chris, for the introduction. As you mentioned, my name is Katie Lashley, and I'm the Director of Sales Operations here at Updox. We're super excited to spend a little bit of time with you today just talking about some of the solutions that we're bringing to the eMDs network and some of the successes we've seen kind of along the way as our company has grown over the years. I did want to start just from the beginning, since this is probably the first time that you've heard about Updox for a lot of you. So just to give you a little bit of background, we are a communications platform built by physicians for physicians. So about 8 years ago, a doctor named Andy Barbash was frustrated as the rest of the world moved on to email and the simplified workflows and ease of use and how much quicker you could move to engage with coworkers from a business perspective. And while the healthcare industry did move to electronic charting through solutions like eMDs and Practice Partner and all of that, what they didn't have was a way to securely email. So while they could track encounter notes and that sort of thing, they still didn't have a way to send and receive messages with people in their network. So they were still using that paper fax machine. They were doing a lot of scanning and uploading into the chart and redundancies that kind of go there. So that's kind of where Updox got our start, is that we became an integrated faxing partner for a lot of EMRs out there. So we simplify those workflows. We have the ability to do really slick editing, signatures. It's really simple to break apart documents and combine things inside of Updox. So we were a digital faxing and document management solution that really was able to help a lot of independent physicians out there. And then meaningful use came around, and there was also a requirement in stage 2 to be able to directly secure email back and forth. So they tried to bring email into the medical world, where you had to have this encrypted email address and you could only send and receive with other people who have that specific type of email address. And we became a partner to a lot of EMRs for that solution to help satisfy that requirement. So again, on the provider-to-provider side, really grown the last couple of years. That's been exciting is on the patient engagement side as well. So not only do we want to connect providers to other providers and prescribers and such, or pharmacists, we also wanted to be able to connect providers to their patients. And where we've been able to help physicians in that way is through integrated electronic reminders. So we're able to read the schedule inside of these applications. You can set your strategy for if you want to call, text, or email, how often or how far in advance from the appointment you want it to go out, and we can automatically take that off of your plate and take those hours from your staff and put them back into your day. We've since added targeted messaging too, because not only do you have messages that you want to get out on a scheduled basis for appointments, but maybe you need to cancel unexpectedly. You want to thank your patients for being a member of your practice after their appointments. Needs such as those kind of prompted us to move into a targeted messaging perspective. All of these really great solutions that we've kind of built up to connect providers to one another and also connect providers to patients. And over the course of the last 8 years, we've been able to help quite a few different EMR partners. In fact, we're just above the 80 threshold as far as EMR integrations goes. We've helped more than 40,000 providers and more than 250,000 users, and that grows every day. And the patients that we're able to help with our solutions through these providers, there's about 60 million of them, which accounts for 18% of the U.S. population. So a lot of really great conversations we've had along the way. We've had a great time learning workflows and building solutions to match, and we're really, really excited to bring that success to the eMDs market for practice partners specifically. And what we hope to do as a company is be a single source for patient and provider communication. Now, more specifically, some of the problems that we help practices solve, redundancies and how time-consuming and inefficient it can be to have a paper-based process with a clinical system that's gone digital. Phone tag and voicemail with patients, creating a predictable schedule where you see a patient is not going to come, so you can maybe backfill that slot or at least know that you'll have an opening. Concerns over patient loyalty, staying up to date with meaningful use and other requirements, a growing aging population, which has also led to a growing need for programs that support chronic care patients, remaining independent and financially viable through all of this, and building a trusted referral network. Those are some of the problems that Updox helps you solve. About technology is that it can make things really simple. It can really clean up your workflows. But if you have your through practice partner, you're doing your e-prescribe through them, maybe you have a need for electronic faxing, maybe you have a need for appointment reminders, maybe you have a need for targeted messaging, but if you were to choose a certain partner for each of those solutions, that would mean that you're maximizing and minimizing windows. You have 3 points of contact from a billing perspective, 3 points of contact from support and training, 3 different systems to learn. So rather than technology being helpful at times, it can be in the other direction. So what Updox helps practices do is level that playing field by offering a solution that covers down on a few of those needs and pains to make your day easier. You have 1 point of contact for service and support, one system to learn, 1 window open that takes care of all of these things. The 2 kind of segments that we break our solutions into would be patient engagement and practice optimization. More specifically on the engagement side, we do offer reminders, notifications. Those things help with relationship development and care management. On the optimization side, you'd find our digital faxing, which really helps streamline referrals, make patient lab and prescription coordination easier. We have a secure interoffice communication suite, so not only can you communicate with outside providers, but within your practice. As a web-based application, your practice is optimized because you're able to access these faxes anywhere with an internet connection, so you're no longer tied to a computer within the practice. And everything is 100% HIPAA compliant because, again, we were built by physicians for physicians, so what's front of mind to you is front of mind to us as well. The solutions that we're going to talk about specifically today will be the document management, so digital document workflows, digital faxing, helping your practice go paperless, and then the messaging and reminders that help create a predictable schedule and maintain those patient relationships. The place that we centralize these messages is the universal inbox. So it's a web-based inbox accessible anywhere with an internet connection. You can even see it on your phone. And what it does is it shows you a running list of any faxes you've received, outgoing faxes, appointment cancellations. What's really cool about this too, since we do tie to your schedule inside of Practice Partner, is that you could hop into our calendar and see your appointments coming up, whether or not they've been confirmed. So a big limitation for a server-based practice is that you don't see your schedule until you get to the practice. With Updox, you have the ability to look at your schedule from your phone. So if you're out to dinner and you're wondering what your book looks the following day, you'd be able to hop into Updox and see that. We kind of designed it to make an email inbox so that the user has a really easy experience. There's a really short learning curve. You have your newer messages on top, your older ones down below. You have an inbox, a sent, and an archive, and a trash. So all things that you're used to doing every day through your email inbox, super easy to use Updox in the same way. What you're going to be doing in here will be interoffice messaging, electronic faxing, managing your schedule as far as appointment cancellations. So what we made sure to do is also make those very obvious when you're looking at the line item. So this is a rolled up view where I can see uploaded documents, fax documents, and then the yellow messages would be either interoffice or reminders based. So making it really obvious what you're doing, and you can even filter by these types of messages as well as you're kind of working through those workflows. Features that I wanted to kind of introduce you to is our electronic fax and document management. And what Updox makes it easy to do is easily review, split, and combine pages. So if you get a fax from a lab and it has 3 different patients included, or it has a cover sheet that you don't want to send to the chart, what we make it really easy to do is pick and choose the pages that you want and then send them off a few at a time. If there was a need to edit or sign a document, we have the ability to one-click sign, mark up, highlight, redact, anything that you would be able to do to a paper copy and that you might be doing to a paper copy. If you did have a need to edit and you have a fax server in place, would take the place of that because you have the ability to do so digitally now. More both PDF and TIFF options when it comes to dragging and dropping. And another really cool part about the workflow is that you're able to send it into PP Zoom while also faxing out kind of simultaneously inside of the same screen. So from a workflow perspective, you no longer have 2 steps to do that, to file or fax out and then file. But from an audit trail perspective, you also see a document follow that to the chart that says, hey, when this was filed, it was also faxed to such and such number. Now we are server faxing, you're operating in and out of our server. So what that means for you is that you don't have to manage the hardware. So if you're in a situation now where you have hardware that you're messing with on a daily or weekly or even monthly basis, you'll be using our web-based fax lines. The other benefit there as well over a paper process, for instance, is that I don't have to deal with busy signals. So if someone's sending you a referral that's 100 or 200 pages, that could tie up a fax line for 15 to 20 minutes. With Updox, you're kind of hitting a room full of fax servers, so you're ensured that the delivery goes through, and if you happen to need to fax something out at that same time, you're going out on a different line altogether. So the sending and receiving is super seamless the way we operate with faxing. So there's no hardware, software, IT support required. We have a great support team that's really good at showing you how to get started and answering any questions you might run into along the way. This is kind of a blown out view of that web-based inbox that we had shown earlier. So not only can you look at like a roll-up summary of the different types of messages and when they came in, but you can also open up the panels to see the thumbnail previews. So if you wanted to take a quick look and see, oh, that's a cover sheet that I don't want to include, I'm just going to grab this page. Oh, there's a referral, Sam handles referrals. We even have a way that you can folder them so that different people who manage those specific workflows have that front of mind. So let's say you have a practice with 3 different individuals who are always keeping an eye on faxes and deciding what needs to happen next. Rather than all 3 of you looking at a document and determining that it's a referral and it's not something you should be looking at, it's something someone else should, you put it into like a digital folder with our tagging feature to move it out of your way and into someone else's. And then if you have certain users that come in and only see a filtered view, they could come in and only see the things that you had assigned to them. So really robust as far as workflows go inside of this inbox. The thing that you can do if you have multiple locations is set multiple inboxes for a practice. So let's say you have 2 or 3 locations, and in those locations you have a fax number and you have a support staff of 3 to 5 people. You create a work queue for Dublin, Ohio, for instance, with this 614 number, and these 5 individuals see things that come into that number. And then you could have a Cincinnati, Ohio, with a 513 number and 3 or 4 individuals inside of that queue, so that you're sharing an account, sharing a patient database, but you're not having to look at everyone's things coming into the same pile and kind of trying to decide what's yours. If you have an administrator that float keeps an eye on both locations, they have the ability to choose one at a time or have an overview of everything happening regardless of the location in the practice. So powerful as far as document management and staying organized. If you had a need to edit a document, I had mentioned that we have the ability to mark up documents electronically. So this is a look at our editor. You're able to one-click sign, time and date stamp. There's check boxes if you have forms that you often send out. The freehand drawing tool, you have an eraser. Again, anything that you would do on a piece of paper, we tried to give you the ability to do here, because what we hear is that when practices go to digital faxing, they still bring things back to paper for the reasons that it's hard to break things apart, it's hard to mark them up, it's impossible to sign them electronically. So what we do is make it possible to do it all inside of Updox. Another thing I wanted to mention while we're looking at this form editor, ability to drag and drop documents into the inbox. So you can fax in, fax out, send and receive messages within the practice. But oftentimes when practices are faxing out, we'll hear that they have a form that they send over and over. Maybe it's a certain referral form. If you keep a blank copy of any document on your desktop, you can single click and drag it into the inbox and use our editor to fill that document out and then send it out with the rest of the things you're faxing. So again, rather than printing those things to paper and then faxing them all out together, as you might need to do with a fax server-based workflow, you can combine things in Updox just as easily as you can split apart. And just because something didn't originate in the chart doesn't mean that you can't fax it out of Updox. You are ready to send it into PP Zoom. You have a couple of options. If you choose Send Item, it's going to grab all of the pages in the transmission. But again, if you wanted to pick and choose pages, let's say you have a couple patients in one fax, you can just grab 2 pages at a time and hit Send, grab the other 2 pages, hit Send so that you're sending them in as separate documents to make it easier to file. You also have the ability to omit a cover sheet in this circumstance using those same checkboxes. When you get into the sending screen, what we'll choose is the Save to Disk option, and then when you hit Send, you'll title the document, select a category, and then send it right into PP Zoom. So that was the workflow once you are ready to get it into that system. Outbound faxing perspective, if you were filing to the chart and you wanted to fax out as well, the search for contacts or users in the top right corner would allow you to just add in a fax number or the name of a contact, and then we'd pull up a cover sheet for you. You will have the opportunity to have multiple cover sheets that you use for different purposes, different locations, or if you just have one, that's fine too. And then with each send, you can kind of tailor that individual cover sheet as well. So every cover sheet should have your practice name and fax number and your contact information, but you have a specific message that you include every time you send a referral. You can create a template for that and drop that note in each time. You can also give it a title line if you need to. Maybe it's to the attention of someone. You have the ability to kind of do that electronically as well. Another nice thing about the way that we kind of manage our sending and receiving of faxes is how clear our audit trails are. So no more waiting for a transmission report, trying to track down something that failed. We will proactively notify you if a fax fails with a fax failed message at the top of the inbox. Super simple for you to send it again. So let's say you have a paper fax machine, so they're giving you busy signals for hours, or if they have fax server hardware that's unreliable and their fax machine's offline for whatever reason, would proactively notify you that your fax failed to make it to the destination so that it's easy for you to resend it. And in those circumstances where 3 days later someone asks you to send it again, you wouldn't have to redo the work because you could just hop into your sent box and grab that document and send away. For revenue or a return on investment perspective, I watch practices all the time, and when we ask how much they fax, the answer is universally a lot. So we try to get them to quantify, how many cases of paper are you going through, how much do you spend on a phone line, and using those numbers, we can kind of put together as far as toner and cases of paper and what you pay on a monthly basis for a fax line. Overall, what we found is that for every 5,000 pages, practices are spending as much as $155 in supplies and 55 staff hours, whereas going digital with faxing with a partner like Updox could save practice as much as $7,000 on an annual basis. So not only will your workflows be improved, but your bottom line will as well. Features that I wanted to talk about is our patient messaging and reminder solution. And what this solution seeks to do is reduce and eliminate no-show rates, really give you a predictable schedule by making it easy if a patient's not planning to come see you to at least give you a heads up about that, so that if you did want to refill that slot with someone who is going to show up for their appointment, you can. Or if you have someone trying to get in to see you and you could predict your no-show rate based on your historical no-show rate, thanks to a partner like Updox, you could give them a realistic expectation as far as if you'd be able to get them in the next couple of weeks. So backfill appointment slots, engaging patients in their care, and helping get a predictable schedule out of the deal. A lot of customization available for our reminder solution, which is what people really like about it. So not only do we have computer voice, but we also have human voice. We have foreign language support. We can do appointment type specific messages. So if they need to bring their meds or if they need to fast before certain appointment types, we can accommodate all of that. You have different locations in your practice, and you wanted location specific reminders, we can support that as well. In addition to how many options you have, it's also super easy to set up. You get up to 3 reminders for each appointment. You choose the time frame that you want it to go out and the method through a phone call, a text message, or an email. And then we sync with your schedule and handle your reminders for you. We'll proactively notify you of any cancellations. Otherwise, you have a really slick dashboard where you can keep an eye on patient response to these reminders. And we fill your schedule without you having to dedicate the time for it. We do differentiate ourselves compared to some of the other reminders options out there. Not only are we able to read your schedule inside of Practice Partner, but we give you up to 3 appointments or 3 reminders per message, and you can choose whatever method you want for those, whereas most reminders solutions out there will try to ding you for reminding twice, so pay per reminder, or different methods cost more money, so that you're not actually leveraging a reminder solution that best suits your practice patient panel, but rather one that best suits your budget. We allow you to do both at Updox. Anytime you touch patients with a message in an automated way, I understand that there are concerns that you want to know what they're going to hear, what they're going to see, because you're the one that has to answer questions about it. So our interface does a really great job letting you preview messages. So if you're going to text a reminder to a patient, you can type up the message and see what it looks like on an iPhone. You can type up a message and have the reminder solution call you so that you hear what they're going to hear. Just a really great value to the way that we set up our solutions to make sure that they're user-friendly and you see patient questions coming. We will proactively notify you about cancellations right in that Updox inbox that we had shown earlier. But if you want to, on your phone or from home or even at the office, hop into this dashboard at any point, we'll get a summary of all appointments on your schedule and what reminders have gone out and what the outcome has been, so you can keep an eye on your schedule ahead of time. Also report on this solution so that if you're wondering a month down the line which method is most effective for your patient panel, you can hop in here, take a look, and reconfigure accordingly. So if they respond better to text messages than emails, maybe you want to send 2 texts and a phone call instead. Again, because you have this predictability now for how often patients cancel appointments, you know that you're going to have 7 unforeseen appointments each week, because that's how many patients end up canceling thanks to your new reminder solution. And again, you didn't have to dedicate the hours on the phone to figure that out. From a new perspective, reminders is probably our easiest kind of mental math exercise. For a typical practice, if you have 20 appointments per day, so 100 appointments per week per provider, 7 of those, industry standard, are going to no-show. Lost revenue can be $90 for a reimbursement, $20 to $30 on your copay. So you're losing as much as $800 weekly on those no-shows, which will roll up to $42,000 annually. And what Updox does, we promise to help you your no-show rate by as much as 30% without having to invest that staff time to do so, which rolls up to about $12,500 in annual savings. So some really powerful numbers in addition to, again, freeing up the staff time that they would have otherwise spent doing that. The feature I wanted to talk about today is our relationship management and blast messaging. So we have the ability not only to read your schedule and send those messages, but also give you a way to get a text out to everyone with an appointment tomorrow, or everyone that came to see you this week, saying thank you, or a happy birthday message, for instance. All of those patient engagement kind of warm and fuzzies, or more based driving attendance to flu clinics, or announcing cancellations or a new office opening. All really great use cases to fire off a message either by phone call, text message, or email to a group of people inside of your database or your contact Rolodex. Essentially, to move forward with this solution, each time you want to send a message, you'd say, I want to send an email, I want to make a phone call, or send a text. Type up your message and select your list of, again, patients or contacts. So if you have a referral network you want to stay in front of once a month, you can create a list for that. Or you want to grab patients fitting a certain profile, or build a list of cancellations or no-shows from last week, you can build a list like that. And you basically key in your message and send. This is another great use case for templates as well. I would say no-shows and cancellations are probably our most popular use case for the reminder solution, because you can load a group of patients into the system, send a message out, and if even one of them gets back on the schedule, the solution more than pays for itself. But again, really simple to just type in your message or use a predefined template that you always send and get it out the door. In addition to being able to grab your patient population by male, female, age, appointments last week, that sort of thing, you can also pick and choose your list. So that reminder or no-show list that I had mentioned, if you just type in the names here, you can build out a custom list. Or if you have appointments tomorrow that need to be rescheduled, you could build out your custom list here too. So we do give you the ability to have like a standard list and then custom for a specific purpose. I mentioned in addition to messaging with pins, you can also use it to message with your referral network. So if you compete for business from a referral perspective, you could send a message to anyone who refers business or patients your way on a monthly basis, just thanking them for the relationship, trying to stay front of mind so that they pick you versus another specialist in town. And the same works for specialists in maintaining that primary care relationship. Reporting perspective, we also pull a list of all of the messages that have gone out and what the outcome has been. So if you are trying to get the word out and it's urgent that someone hears from you, you could go ahead and pull this list, maybe make 1 or 2 phone calls instead of 30 phone calls, whatever the case may be. From a revenue perspective, so make life easier, really cool tool to use whenever you have a reason for it, but some of the more powerful reasons we've used, and if a no-show or a cancellation is back on your schedule, it would pay for the entire month if you consider their copay and their reimbursement that you get from that. If you're trying to drive attendance at flu clinics, I know that in Ohio, we're all feeling a little bit sick as we get our back-to-school colds here. Flu clinics are about a month away, and I know that a press trying to drive attendance to those, maybe a quick text message to a 3,000 patient panel would get additional attendance at that flu clinic. So if you consider a $30 flu shot reimbursement, if that message can increase the shots that you give by as much as little as 10%, that could mean $9,000 in additional revenue for your practice. So use on an ongoing basis for thanking patients, for no-shows or cancellations back on the schedule, and then use it towards the end of the year when you really want to drive revenue from those types of things. Now, revenue kind of rollout perspective, so our most successful customers taking advantage of all of these different solutions, again, we're a single source partner that helps you both on the patient and provider side. We're able to help practices recognize that $7,000 in savings going paperless with their faxing. We're able to put up to $9,000 back into their budget using our targeted messaging, and then reducing the no-shows another $12,500. So the Updox return on the investment that you have and the ease of use you have with our solutions absolutely helps practices bottom line, specifically those that are independent physicians trying to kind of do more with less on a daily basis. Thank you again for letting me introduce kind of what Updox is all about. If you did want to get started, I wanted to let you know we do offer a trial period for all new customers. We have free training, free technical support. There's no hardware, so getting up and running is super simple. And what's also nice is that there's no contract. So we're month-to-month service, there's no upfront investment, and we're on the hook to keep you happy as a customer month over month, which really is a value to you. We do have our back-to-school promotion, as I mentioned, going on. We are offering 15% for your first 6 months with promo code back-to-school for any customers who wanted to get started before the end of the month, which I believe is tomorrow. We'll have our sales development reps follow up after the event to see if there's any follow-up questions, and they'll be asking if you'd be interested in a 10 to 15-minute follow-on with a product expert. Really great use of time because they can into the application to show you some of those workflows in real time, and they're also able to provide a quote on the line as well. We'll be following up after the event, but if you can't wait and you want to call us or email us directly, you're certainly welcome to do that as well.
Oh, thank you very much, Katie, for walking us through those Updox tools. A lot of really great stuff that you can utilize with your practice partner application. I want to address some of the questions we've been getting over the course of the presentation, just to make sure that everybody is on the same page and to guide you guys with certain categories of questions back to the appropriate places. So first of all, I had a couple of questions come in related to Practice Partners Patient Portal, WebView. If you are using WebView, you still need to be using WebView. We are talking about today with Updox are these specific document management and reminder tools that Katie just went over. Updox has some solutions related to Patient Portal. They are great solutions, and we are in talks with Updox for what we can do as a partner organization to further integrate those types of solutions with Practice Partner. At this time, WebView is still WebView, and you still need to use WebView. Updox will not be integrating Patient Portal solutions or replacing WebView, and that's particularly important for you guys who are attesting for your patient portal measures in the different quality reporting programs that are out there. So please don't mistake this presentation with regards to the faxing and document solutions and the appointment reminder solutions as a replacement for WebView. That may be coming in the future, but it is not here today. You still need your WebView application. The second category of question I want to go ahead and address is we've gotten a few questions related to other eMDs applications, most notably Medisoft. So what I would advise there, if you have questions about another practice management system, say Medisoft Clinical or LytecMD, I know they share some of the clinical architecture with Practice Partner. What we're talking about today is available for Practice Partner C3 today. So it's Practice Partner C3 today. The partnership between Updox and eMDs is still very new. We are expanding some of these tools out to other applications like Medisoft Clinical and LytecMD. We are expanding some of these tools out to like Patient Portal and things like that. But we're talking today, right now, that's what these tools are available for Practice Partner on C3. So if you have questions about other databases, if you have questions about other practice management systems, I would advise you to reach out to your account manager, reach out to your eMDs value-added reseller, or reach out to the Updox team and talk about your practice's configuration. We can make sure we have those conversations with you as we are expanding out this partnership between Updox and eMDs. Okay, so those two things out of the way, let me go ahead and go back through and see if we can get some of these other questions answered, if that would be okay, Katie. The first question I see here is, is the data extracted on a schedule or is it a live connection? Like, how does that work?
As far as the scheduling goes, it is a live connection.
All right. Next question, this one might be more for Susie. Are there plans to integrate this to the fax button with notes in Practice Partner?
I am not on the development side, so I wouldn't know for sure. I don't believe so, but again, I'm more on the marketing side of the house, so I'd love to track down an answer for that one for you.
I don't have an answer for that either, as far as development goes, but I can ask a question.
Awesome. So we will take that one as a takeaway. And price. So we talked a little bit about the offer and the trial. Katie, can we get a ballpark of what the pricing model looks like?
I don't have specifics on pricing. I do know that they sell in kind of two tiers of service. There's Updox Connect, which is the provider-to-provider side, so primarily the digital faxing, and then there's Updox Engage. But our product experts would be happy to provide a quote based on the individual practice.
For pricing questions, you guys reach out to Updox, talk about your practice, give them an idea of what you're looking for and what it is you need, and they can build out that quote for you. Next question, do we have to manually load the schedule in for confirmation calling, or is there an interface?
We read the schedule in real time, so we'd be sending those reminders out without having to load a schedule in.
All right. And the last question here, follow up on the pricing model question. Knowledge that it is practice specific. Is it based on a provider number or a document number? Can we get an idea of how that works?
It's a combination of the two. So we do have per provider pricing, and then fax page inclusions and appointment inclusions with thresholds. So I know that they do price that way. So faxing volume, number of providers, number of appointments on your schedule, all of those things would kind of go into that.
All right, fantastic. Do you have any other questions out there? I think aside from the two categories I addressed already and the questions we've read out, that should cover the questions we've received. I'm not seeing any other questions come in. You guys, I want to say thank you very much to the Updox team for joining us today, and thank you for all of you for taking the time out of your day to spend with us and to learn about these new tools that we're rolling into Practice Partner. We are very excited about this partnership with Updox, and we hope you are too. Stay tuned to your eMDs representatives. As I said, this is still a new partnership, and we are expanding it quickly. So we will have more news as it becomes available about new tools, new features, and new things to do with the tools offered by the Updox team. So very exciting stuff. You will receive a recording of today's session. That's going to come like it always does to the email address that you registered for today's call with. Look for that tomorrow. And if you have any questions at all about Updox's contact info is on the slide in front of you. You can also reach out to Susie and the Practice Partner team as you always do. So thank you much on behalf of Kate, on behalf of Susie and everybody at eMDs. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you next time for the next Practice Partner Lunch and Learn session. I hope everyone has a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.